Previously, we applied a gradient to the header using colorzilla.com. There are many tools available online to help us make better CSS, and we will use a different tool this time to format our aside box. If I attempt to click in the aside box, I end up picking up one of my list items, but I can highlight the appropriate tag using the tag selector above the code. Clicking on Aside shows me the currently applied CSS. I'm going to use my browser to go to another site called cssmatic.com. cssmatic.com has 4 tools available: a gradient generator, border radius generator, noise texture, and box shadow. We will use 3 of these to improve the aside bar. Start with the gradient generator. Again, there are some presets available, and you can choose one that is close to what you would like to use. In this case, I will pick up this light brown gradient, spread it a little, reverse the colours, and also apply a direction using the direction buttons here. When you're happy with the code, click on Copy Text. Then return to Expressions and find the aside section of the style header. So you can see here, this is my style section. Here is aside with an opening and closing curly bracket. Move to before the closing curly bracket, press enter, and paste the text that has come from CSSmatic. And we can see that this has been applied, although we won't see the full benefit until we preview in a browser. CSSmatic has some other tricks which we are going to use. So I'm going to go back to the home page and look at border radius. And this will let me change the shape of the box. It would be possible to round everything, or individually we could apply, for example, some subtle rounding to a top left and bottom right corner, and then a stronger rounding to top right and bottom left. We can also apply a border width and border style. When you're happy with your rounding, click on Copy Text, return to the aside section, and again move to just before the closing curly bracket, press enter to leave a gap, and then paste before that closing curly bracket. So we can see the border has applied. We won't see the rounding until we try this in a proper browser. Finally, returning to CSSmatic, I can also create a box shadow. So we can apply parameters, including a blur to fade out, and also, for example, changing the color. And the opacity is how strongly we can see through the shadow, from not seen through at all to very transparent. When you're happy with your box shadow, click on Copy Text, return to the Aside section of the style, press Enter, paste at the end of the code, but before the closing curly bracket, and again, we won't see this until we try it in a proper browser. Preview in browser shows us our newly styled Aside box.